What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the next stimulus package, the American Families Plan, and the passage of that is going to be coming here soon. They have passed the physical infrastructure package in the House and the Senate, and the president has still not signed that. He's waiting to sign that. I will keep you updated on what is going to happen with that. And House of Representatives is waiting to pass the stimulus package as well. I'm going to give you the latest details on that, as well as what is going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market, pretty much everything you need to know about on a daily basis. Remember that new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. I will keep you up to date with everything going on here in our country. And if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. New positive virus cases in the U.S. have been declining and are now flatlining. This might be good news for the holidays. I mean, it's much better than rising cases for sure. You can see here on this graph. You can see here on this graph of the United States, we have come down from our second major surge, where we had a high of 280,000 new cases in one single day, the second highest day ever, on August 30th. And you can see that here by this graph here. We are now at, well, yesterday we actually had on November 8th, 126,000 new cases. So that is still a significant amount. That's a lot of people. The 7-day moving average is at 73,875. And you can see here, this is kind of plateaued a little bit. The decrease has kind of stopped and it's now plateaued. It's on a flat line. And we'll have to see what happens with that. This is positive new cases per day. Deaths per day are on a decrease / flat line as well. Yesterday, 1,222 people died just yesterday from the virus. That is also pretty much the average on the 7-day average as well. So still a significant amount of people every single day. Both Pfizer and Merck have a pill that you can take that they're seeking emergency use authorization for here. From the FDA. It's not approved yet in the United States, but Pfizer says that its new pill that you would take after you catch the virus cuts the disease and hospitalization risk by up to 89%, and they're both seeking emergency use authorization here from the FDA and could be approved in the coming days and would be at least a approved treatment if approved, when approved by the FDA. And it's probably going to be approved here. But the question is if and when here going forward here by the FDA. So I will keep you up to date on this. It will be nice to see some more approved treatments when people catch the virus because, well, you know how that goes. It's, it's not something you can see and, stay away from. So it's just, we're still in a pandemic. I mean, yesterday we had, what was it? We had 126,461 people catch it just yesterday alone, just in one day. So, yeah, still pretty bad out there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. On the next stimulus package, here is White House National Economic Council advisor on the cost of the package and what is going to be happening going forward, Brian Deese.
Joe Manchin was pretty straightforward, though. He said that he thinks there are games being played with some of the programs being cut down by the number of years. He doesn't think a CBO scoring will show it to be 1.75 trillion or 1.9 trillion. He thinks it'll be much higher. Those other House Democrats want to see it too. What do you think the CBO score will show?
Well, I think that this will show and reinforce that this bill is fully paid for. it's been a while in Washington, D.C. since we've really put together something that is fully paid for and will reduce the deficit across time. That's what this piece of legislation will do. We judge every piece of legislation on its own, and if you look at both the investments, the tax cuts, and the revenue increases in this bill, what you're going to see, it's fully paid for in the first decade and significant deficit reduction in the second decade as well. So we're confident that that's what we're going to see when you look at all the different component parts of this legislation. And again, we'll move this process forward.
Hey, Brian, I did get an email from David Walker, the former Comptroller General of the United States, earlier today. This is something he's been talking about for a long time, but I know it has echoes from other politicians, other people in both the Senate and the House. He says that now that the bipartisan infrastructure bill has passed in Congress, he would like to draw a federal fiscal line and just make sure that there's not an expansion of entitlement programs until Congress and the president have restored the solvency and sustainability of the Social Security and Medicare programs. He points out that those programs had over $65 trillion in unfunded promises as of September 30th of 2020. And the amount is growing by trillions a year. Now, again, this is something he's been talking about for a very long time. It certainly precedes this administration. But when you hear calls like that, what do you think? He'd like to see some sort of fiscal sustainability commission set up.
Well, I appreciate David's perspective and others, and frankly, it's welcome after a 4-year period where Congress and the president added $8 trillion in unpaid for deficit to the deficit, including the $2 trillion unpaid for tax cut in 2017. What we're bringing is a focus on doing things in a sound and fiscally sustainable way. You raise Medicare, for example. If you look at the Build Back Better bill, not only would it lower prescription drug prices for American families, it would lower prescription drug costs for the Medicare program. You look at the tax side of this bill, we would close a loophole in the Medicare self-employment tax, which helps to restore revenue to the general fund and to help support our long-term obligations. So that's what this bill does. It is the first time in quite some time that we actually take seriously doing something in a fiscally sustainable way while making critical investments like lowering the cost of prescription drugs, like lowering the cost of child care. So that's exactly what we've got going here in this Build Back Better agenda. And as I said, we look forward to working these things through and then a vote in the House next week.
They're also adding hearing benefits and hearing aid benefits to Medicare and Medicare recipients in this bill. They were looking to add vision and dental. That does not look like it's going to make it in this package. Anything is up for still negotiation. And Bernie Sanders is still pushing for that. That could still be up for negotiation, especially when things go to the Senate, and the Senate is going to probably negate things or delete things from the package. Immigration's probably going to get deleted from the package. Paid family and medical leave could get deleted from the package when it goes there, especially because Joe Manchin is kind of, he says he's not against it, but he doesn't really want it to be in this package. But hearing and hearing aid coverage is included in this package for Medicare right now, including lowering the cost of prescription drugs for Medicare and for non-Medicare recipients for just regular, average, everyday Americans in this package, as well as capping the cost of Medicare recipients to $2,000 a year for prescription drug pricing as well. So there's a lot of different things in there that will lower the cost for prescription drugs as just literally one of the things in this package. So there's a lot of different things in there. Paid family and medical leave, 4 weeks of paid family and medical leave. The question about that particular provision in this package, which was just added a few days ago when the White House came out with the framework on whether that actually wasn't in there, and neither was the prescription drug pricing, lowering the cost of that. Neither of those items were in there, just like last week. And then through negotiation, both of those were added in there last week. So they are literally negotiating here on a daily basis, and those items were both added in there. They're both those stimulus provisions will help out millions and millions of Americans. The problem is that Joe Manchin, yeah, I'm rolling my eyes, is against the paid family and medical leave being included in this package. He says he's for paid family and medical leave. Paid family and medical leave being paid for by the government is basically, if a woman goes to have a baby, she can get 4 weeks of paid family and medical leave from the government. If a person has an illness, if they catch the virus, they can get up to 4 weeks of their paid family and medical leave from the government. They basically can get their salary paid for by the government, or a portion of their salary paid for by the government, depending on how much you make. You get reimbursed by the government. If you have to take time off for an illness or something like, or if you have to care for somebody in your family for an illness, you can get this time off paid for by the government. The U.S. has gotten criticized because we're one of the few only first world countries that currently does not offer this on a national basis. So we're supposed to be the world's richest country. We're supposed to be the best country, and yet we're one of the few countries that don't offer programs like this. And originally they wanted to offer 12 weeks of this. Then it got cut to 4 weeks. Then it got cut to 0 weeks and was taken out of the program. And we've had advocacy groups across the nation, including a lot of women's rights programs, advocating across the country. We've had some clips showing here on the show showing women's rights programs saying that this needs to be included, and then they added it back in last week, and to cheers across the nation saying thank God. But then, of course, here we have Joe Manchin saying he's not sure if he's going to vote for it. And he actually said, we had him on the show here, saying he's for paid family and medical leave, but he doesn't think it should be done in this package, in this capacity. He thinks it should be done in a bipartisan way. Well, first of all, getting Republicans and Democrats to agree on anything is a monumental challenge. First of all, that could take forever to do that. Second of all, he thinks that employers should pay into a fund similar to how employers pay like a portion of Social Security earnings. So employers would pay into a fund for paid family and medical leave, instead of the tax raising would basically pay for the paid family and medical leave. How the tax raises of wealthy individuals and corporations, or kind of how they're doing the different tax raises for this program, is going to pay for this fund. Instead of paying for that and putting paid family and medical leave in this program, he wants to have it done a different way, where employers would have paid family and medical leave. The problem is if you don't put it in this package and get it done with this package, it might never get done. So, just throwing that out there, that if Joe Manchin doesn't vote for it, this whole package is in jeopardy. Because remember, you need every single senator to vote for the package. Here is co-chairman of the Problem Solvers Caucus, Representative Josh Gottheimer, a moderate Democrat, which is kind of how Senator Joe Manchin is, but not as controversial as on the physical infrastructure package and the stimulus package and where we go forward with this. He's from the House of Representatives. He was one of those that demanded the Congressional Budget Office report come back and make sure that everything's on the up and up. And this is him saying, well, what's going to happen here going forward?
Now to Capitol Hill, where the focus is on a handful of moderate Democrats holding up the president's $1.75 trillion human infrastructure bill. Those 5 lawmakers say they want to see the CBO score, a detailed rundown of how much it will cost, before agreeing to support the bill. I've got one of them with us right now, New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer, co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus. Congressman, first, I want to congratulate you. The bipartisan bill, huge, huge achievement. I know you've been working on it for months, but let's talk human infrastructure. Why bring this CBO score up so late in the game?
Well, first, Stephanie, thanks so much for having me, and thanks for pointing out the big win for our country, bipartisan, I'd add, right? Democrats and Republicans came together, fix our roads, our bridges, our obviously the Gateway Tunnel between New York and New Jersey, get that going, our water infrastructure, rails, transit system, so much that's good for the country, 2 million jobs a year. And to bring up the other package, which also is very important, something that I've supported, the reconciliation package called Build Back Better, that will help us reinstate SALT, the state local tax deduction, and get taxes down for people in my district. What we asked for, and as you know, Stephanie, we got the bill basically final language on Thursday night. And there were new things added. So we had questions to make sure that we understood how it's paid for, to understand exactly what's in it. And we think it's the responsible thing to do to read that bill. It's 2,000 pages, the new bill, and to compare it to the old text, which was also 2,000 pages. We've had people working around the clock to make sure we know what's in there. And make sure it's great for our districts. And I'm optimistic that that'll happen. And the numbers that we got, we hope will match up with what we received already from the White House and Treasury on some of the data on the cost of the bill and see how they match up with the investments. So I'm optimistic that the data we will get next week, which we're expecting, will all match up and we'll be able to move forward.
Let's talk about taking a victory lap on the hard infrastructure bill. The markets yesterday hitting new highs in large part because of the bill you passed. Yet Democrats say nothing. It's like you don't want to take credit for good news on Wall Street because it alienates people. Now, the markets and the economy are not the same thing, but when Wall Street wins, Main Street doesn't lose. Half of American households have some form of investment in the market. I'm talking pensions, 401ks. By Democrats continuing to say nothing, you cede the ground for Republicans to continue to push a false narrative that they're the only party that looks at things like the markets.
Well, listen, Stephanie, where I live, this is a huge deal for everybody, right? I mean, fixing our roads and bridges and tunnels and making life easier to get to work and fighting climate change are all great things for the economy. And obviously, when you're talking about competing with China, which last year spent $3.7 trillion on infrastructure outside of China, it's just, this took us 3 decades to get this package together, and we did it in a bipartisan way, right? 69 in the Senate, and we got 13 Republicans to vote for it and really come through strong on Friday on the bipartisan bill. But you're right, we should take a huge win, and the country should take a huge, take a victory lap as well. There's other legislation too that we're working on, separate bills you pointed out, that also is going to be great for the country and helping with childcare and fight climate change and reinstate SALT and get our taxes down. Those are all great things too. But you're right, Stephanie, when the economy does well and the country does well, we should all take a victory lap, Democrats and Republicans.
Can you help me understand sort of a sticking point in the human infrastructure bill? Why is it that more people can't get on board for paid family leave, right, after someone has a baby? Yet where it stands right now, if I bought a private plane, I could get 100% write-off in year 1. So to me, it sure sounds like you don't want to do something that would help millions of people, but there's a free hookup on the top end for the richest of the rich. How do you square those two?
Well, I can't speak for my colleagues who don't support giving people time off for paid leave, and you've got a loved one or a family member sick, or just had a baby. It doesn't make any sense to me. And in New Jersey, we do that already, and also other key investments here, like helping people with childcare and making sure we have universal pre-K so that people have all the opportunity, our children have all the opportunity. That just makes sense to me. But listen, what matters is talking about these issues and making sure we explain to people what we're fighting for. And Stephanie, sometimes, right, folks aren't always good at that and aren't willing to do it. I think we should be out there talking about how we're fighting for people. I know that's why, I talk about how we got to make life more affordable for families around here, which is why we need to reinstate SALT and get that deduction, help people get some tax relief. But you got to listen to folks, and what they want is action. They want us to fight for them, and I think both these bills do that.
Do you want the president to take action as it relates to gas? Republicans who claim the president sets the price of gasoline are obviously wrong. However, he has levers. He can invest in gas reserves. That would, at least in the short term, impact prices. Do you want him to do something?
Yeah, I expect him to take action. I know he's tapping the strategic reserve already. As you point out, it's a global market. It's why, and frankly, we're dealing with huge supply chain issues, which the infrastructure bill, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, are going to help address with our ports, making sure we fix our rail systems, right? We've got to fix our roads so that you're not hitting potholes. In Jersey, we've got the 3rd worst roads in the country. That's very tough for truck drivers who are trying to move these goods. And we've got huge backup issues from COVID, as you know, in the global supply chain. So these are issues that we have to, this infrastructure bill addresses, and the president obviously can take additional measures. But people have to understand we're trying to catch up from COVID here. But I know that they're like, listen, we got to get these gas prices down. We got to help people with prices at the grocery store, and that means getting the supply chain moving and taking every step we can to do that.
Important to remember and put that in perspective, where we were a year ago in COVID and where we are today. It has been tremendous.
That's exactly
Congressman,
right.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, you heard her say that the passage of this physical infrastructure package has been good for the stock market, and the stock market just hit all-time highs. And that you heard her say that 50% of Americans have money in the stock markets through 401ks, through pensions, through owning stocks individually. So yeah, 50% of average everyday Americans do have some type of money in the stock market. And then also they mentioned that President Biden and the gas prices that we're all kind of battling here. Yeah, do you think President Biden and the Biden administration needs to be doing more to combat the prices of gas as we're nearing all-time highs, which goes back to like 2011 or so? Yeah, the price of gas is just enormous. And do you think President Biden needs to be doing more to combat the price of gas? And yeah, the price of gas is just out of control, and it's really starting to go up here. And I think that is going to be something very challenging for him to do because OPEC is not cooperating. In fact, they're doing the opposite, and their the price of oil is actually going up and up, and it's not getting any better. So the problem is that with the price of oil going up, the price of gas goes up, and the problem is with the United States having to import oil. It's not looking good for us right now with our resiliency on oil, and yeah. So I don't know where we go from here, but as of right now, the price up at the pumps is not really going to be alleviated here in the near future. I mean, we're hoping so, but it's really not looking good. And President Biden, I think he's going to have to try to pull some strings, but yeah, I just really don't. I don't know how much he can do. I mean, of course, he can open up that Keystone pipeline that he reopened. I don't think he's going to do that, though. I think that would be going against his own agenda. It's really interesting that was one of the first moves that he did when he came in, and now the gas prices are going up. Of course, I think that's just one piece of the puzzle, but he sure is getting a lot of criticism for that now. And I think the price of gas going forward is just going to be one of the things that they have to try to combat. I mean, we're really seeing the price of everything go up right now with inflation. So let me know your thoughts. I'll keep you up to date with everything here going on here in our country. Remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so, and I will keep you up to date. Also, if you didn't catch my video from earlier about that homeowners assistance fund and rental assistance, there's money available for both in all states. So the homeowners assistance fund, we haven't talked about that a lot, but I did a video on that. And a lot of states are going to be having this actually come out available now in the near future. Actually, after I looked into it a lot of states don't have it open yet, but are going to have it open here available soon. So you definitely want to check out that video. I'll link it for you right here. But definitely want to watch this video if you haven't yet. It has about the homeowners assistance fund and rental assistance, where you can get your rent paid for 3 to 12 months and money for homeowners as well. So definitely click and watch this video next if you haven't yet, or you might want to share this video with your friends and family so that they can check that out next as well. So click on that. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.